Hey all, here are OS Reviews. Today we're taking a closer look at the LionCooler Pro. This is a smart cooler and fridge 2-in-1 that is a rechargeable unit, so it can be taken on the road and still function using this power bank that, by the way, can also serve double duty to charge up laptops, can be removed, and it can reach freezing temperatures, so you can also use it for ice cream even, as well as for cooler temperatures. If you're just using it for beverages and fruit, it can be controlled, in fact, using a Bluetooth app, which you can install on your phone, either iOS or Android. Also allows you to monitor the percentage of battery that is left. Now, it also comes with an optional solar panel that you see over there, which can provide some extra juice if you're camping and you're in a relatively sunny spot. It seems to be a pretty versatile, smart mini fridge. And the early bird price is about $500 a pop, so it's definitely not cheap. But if you are really in need of a smart as well as rechargeable freezer and cooler, this might be an interesting option to consider. Of course, if the juice is running low, you can also charge it while in your car. It includes a cigarette lighter plug, as well as a standard plug for indoor usage as well. Since it is a fridge, you don't necessarily need to put ice cubes in it, which can melt on traditional coolers, versus this, which can control the temperature. It even includes a beverage opener or beer can opener on the side, and does have wheels just like a suitcase or luggage that you can also take with you when you are traveling with food and objects inside. It comes in 3 different sizes that you can pick between: 30, 40, and 50 liter sizes. And they claim that the overall engineering should also keep things chilly up to 12 hours of uninterrupted chilling, although again that depends on the temperature that you're setting. The 4 stages that you can set it at: cooling goes up to 6 degrees, and then chilling, and then a frozen and deep freeze. This gigantic 52,000 milliamp hour pack is constructed out of aluminum alloy. There is a LED display on the front, which can tell you the percentage of the juice that's remaining. Type-C here, providing up to 100 watts, can charge, again, laptops, MacBooks, no issues there. It's also an input as well, so you get the fastest charging rates if you're also plugging this into a GAN-based wall charger. And then there is also a proprietary barrel plug that they supply, as well as charging up 2 more, let's say, phones or tablets using Qualcomm Quick Charge, and some of the specs here are reiterated again on the rear. It also comes with, by the way, a soft carrying pouch, which you can store it with it if you are using it detached. Just for demo purposes here, we have it plugged into a laptop. Here's the ThinkPad, and you can see it's charging up really without any problems. When you slide it into the cooler, it uses these pogo contacts instead. There is also a LED light, which can act as an emergency torch if you are camping, so you press 2 times to activate it. You can see the light here has turned on, and it's drawing very little power because it's LED, but it is quite bright. There's also an SOS blinking mode if you tap on it again, but there are no other adjustments in terms of brightness level. Solar panel here is rated at 90 watts, pretty high efficiency, and it has this tri-folding design. It is a little bit on the heavier side though, but has a handle that you can also strap onto the top of the cooler when you're on the go. Can in fact also be plugged directly into Type-C, so you can also charge your phone with it if you don't want to plug it into the cooler necessarily. It is another kind of modular accessory which is optional. It does also include integrated kickstands, which can then fold down using Velcro, but it can pop it up at a more elevated angle. Other accessories are pretty standard, so the cooler can of course also operate if you're indoors just by plugging it in like a regular fridge. At the same time, if you have the battery always in there, it can charge the battery at the same time. You don't have to necessarily remove it for charging, and it just looks like this, pretty standard stuff. Other regular accessories include the aforementioned car charger. Now just taking a closer look at the design, a fairly standard polycarbonate plastic frame, and otherwise the very top here also includes 2 cup holders, so you can actually use this like a mini table if you're at a picnic. You can even put something like a food or a plate on that area here. This is actually made of a soft touch rubber material. It does have a small LED display that shows the temperature that it's at, as well as the kind of power percentage, as well as wattage that it's using with the battery inside. And you can control things like the temperature further by making it colder or warmer, 1 degree at a time. This can all be tweaked up to the aforementioned -4 degrees Fahrenheit for the maximum coldness level. There is also an eco versus a max mode, so that will optimize either the longevity of the cooling and not try to consume as much power for the fans, or you can make it the coldest and it will stay at that temperature. You'll also find access to a USB socket on the very top as well. So because the power bank is no longer accessible when it's plugged in, they still give you this 1 slot to charge up your phone up to 5 volt 2 amps, which is a pretty thoughtful accessory there. At the max mode, again, the fan noise is going to be a little louder as it's more aggressive and trying to reach its coldest temperature there. And this is as much noise as it produces in that maximum mode. So again, it's definitely not the most quiet thing, but if you're in the eco mode, it's going to be a bit more soft, considering that this is primarily going to be used outdoors when you're camping. Shouldn't really pose too big of an issue. I would say it's even quieter than a engine of a car, for example. It's just a bit of a white noise. Now on the edge here, we could also make out the input for charging it. We have some exhaust for the wind as well as the wheels themselves. It does also include two smaller handles on the side, so you can lift it up. At the very bottom of the cooler, you also find two little hooks that you can use to attach the optional straps to prevent anything from loosening if you have the solar panel attached onto the top. And finally, here's what it looks like on the back with the aforementioned beer can opener. If we open it up, we'll see here that there is also a LED light on the side, which I do think is a pretty thoughtful feature. Makes it a little easier to see if you're even in a bit of a darker space. Now, the process of having it cool down in temperature does take a few minutes. It's not too bad, but you should plan for 5 to 10 minutes for it to get to the point that you've set it to. Otherwise, the size is pretty good, honestly. You can put in here a full-size beverage, like a can of orange juice, some eggs, basically fruit, yogurt, ice cream, like I said. It can still fit in there. Just keep in mind that the top quarter portion here on the side has to be taken up by the compartment for the battery and the refrigeration. So just as a demo here, we can see that the egg itself technically can go underneath there, even if there is a ridge getting more towards the top. And in fact, it is quite cool if you put your hands here already. So the food in here will be, of course, staying fresh longer than on a regular cooler. And we can see the shiny crystals of frozen condensation on the side here. So indeed, it is reaching just a very cold temperature overall. One thing I will say though is maybe they could have put the water bottle holder onto the other side of the unit instead, because since this is technically on the door, you have to remove it every time that you try to open it up. And here we have the Solar Freezer app. We're going to just search for coolers nearby, allow our location services, and turn on Bluetooth. It's found our Lion Pro cooler here. You'll hear a beep. Tells us to press on the settings key there once to confirm, and afterwards we're done. We can see the current temperature that it's at, as well as the battery percentage exactly that's left, which is pretty useful since we only see the indicator on the side of the fridge itself, and also the wattage that it's currently at in terms of how much power it's using, Celsius versus Fahrenheit, and I can also further tweak things like getting the temperature even colder if I desire. You hear a beep every single time one of those settings has been changed. Under advanced settings, very interestingly, you can also set up a further minimum temperature control. So right now, -4 degrees seems to be the limit. In fact, that's what's advertised. But based on the app, it seems like you can even go down further if you wanted to. So you can maybe try to go it down to -8 degrees or -10 if you really wanted to, but that will probably not be super effective, but still is interesting to see that you can control that technically from the software here. Temperature display here also will push that over to the actual cooler as well. It will now show Celsius instead of Fahrenheit. And again, pretty simple as far as menus are concerned. Here's just a closer look. So very easy, not too many other things that you can track on here, but gets you the essentials. Maybe one other advanced feature they can consider in the future could be a anti-loss function. It's not something that I would imagine you'd use too often because a freezer is quite a large object, but similar to other smartwatches and smart connected apps I've seen, they can maybe beep if you're out of the connection distance, just to alert you of its location if you've forgotten it for any reason, and that could be pretty neat. So that is more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the LionCooler Pro. At the end of the day, it still is a very simple product, and it's meant to be that way. It's easy to use, but it just has a few more nice functions in there, like that companion app, modular battery pack, which is pretty easy to use and take with you when on the go, extra accessories like solar charging, as well as charging up your phone. That are all really nice touches, and the fact that it's impressive in how it can reach a very cold temperature despite the small size. You're doing a bit more of camping as well as RV tripping. This could be a great companion to take when on the road, easy to charge in the car, and also even off the grid completely. And something about the fact that you can just move it around, take it with you while it's still cooling and fully functioning as a fridge is kind of cool, I have to say, in a way. And again, the wheels are pretty nice in terms of moving it around. Good fit and finish overall for a cooler slash mini fridge of its class. So you can check out more details if you're interested in the links down below. For now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the acopower LionCooler Pro.